All right, let's go. You know, these are not salutary times for the Ibadan Electricity Distribution Company, IBEDC, and the University College Ibadan, UCH. Now, both parties traded words over the disconnection of electricity to the hospital. The IBEDC said it was compelled to disconnect UCH as a result of an outstanding debt exceeding 400 million naira. Now, the UCH is saying a big no to the claim, whereas the IBEDC says the debts have persisted for over 6 years. The public relations officer of the UCH, Mrs. Fumilayo Adetuibi, has denied the outstanding debt claim. Now, the contention with the IBEDC is the old bill inherited by the current administration. The teaching hospital is immobilized as we speak. So who is saying what? Do you know, Jide?
They've got to reconcile the books. I'm worried about the reluctance of many government agencies to pay electricity bills. I mean, for God's sake, the electricity sector has been privatized. Only the transmission leg is yet to be privatized. It's still 100% owned by government. But the electricity companies own 60% of the distribution leg, 60% of the generation leg. Well, government has 40% in both the GENCOs and the DISCOs. Now, the DISCOs had the face of the sector.
Okay.
They are the ones who interface with the rest of us. You don't see the GENCOs.
They are the ones we know.
You don't see the transmission workers. The DISCOs are the ones that you see, you interface, the insults, they are the ones who bear everything on behalf of everyone, because they are the ones who receive money. And this is a highly capital-intensive sector. The DISCOs have the duty to receive money from the rest of us so that the entire electricity chain can feed off what the DISCOs are receiving from the rest of us. But they suffer from electricity energy theft. Energy theft is rampant. People bypassing meters to steal energy directly from the transmission lines. Now, what we see is a reluctance on the part of big government agencies, on the part of the armed forces to pay. You can see a similar problem happened with Aso Rock, and the president said, "Go and pay." Aso Rock was owing. I don't know if they finally paid now. The Nigerian army was paying. It was owing. The chief of army staff said, "See, the corpses in our morgues, they are decaying because you didn't give us light." DISCOs,
they are the biggest debtor.
DISCOs need to be paid. We've got to find a way to deal with that problem. We abuse them. I heard the minister saying the DISCOs are the weakest link. I disagree. I disagree with facts. He says the DISCOs are the... People say that without facts. I disagree that the DISCOs are the weakest link. And I've proved that on this program before, based on a stress test that Siemens conducted. The stress test that Siemens conducted did not show that the DISCOs are the weakest. Now I hear this Minister of Power telling us the DISCOs are the weakest. These are some of the problems that ensure that the DISCOs can't function optimally. I'm not saying that, oh, they do not have their problems. But people who want to use electricity must be ready to pay for it. Let's face it. Do you know how many of those agencies are not paying? And people are scared to walk up to the armed forces and tell them to pay for fear of being beaten up. In some parts of our country, if any disco official is seen climbing the electricity pole, they will wait for him.
He's at risk.
Yes, they will beat them. I've seen videos where they even brought cutlasses.
Wow.
So people, whether you are an hospital, government, through the budget should be able to set aside money for people to pay.
But
or to be
you,
able to
you are not persuaded by the argument of the PRO of the UCH that the IBEDC is talking about the debt passed to them from the
debts are meant to be paid. If there's a change of government here,
government is a continuum.
Andrew Hanlon leaves TVC, Victoria Abiola Ajayi takes over, you inherit the liabilities. It is a ridiculous argument, for God's sake, that, oh, it's the last management that is owing. The debt that the army is owing, was it Lagbaja alone that locked up, that locked the entire debt? I mean, we shouldn't be hearing things like this. Go ahead and pay, so that the hospital that used to be one of the best in the entire Commonwealth, where the kings of Saudi Arabia used to come to receive Medicare, we can restore it to his old glory. It's such a massive shame that a center of excellence like
is
UCH
in this mess.
Is in this mess. They used to be in the same category with the Makerere University in Uganda, as well as Legon
in Ghana.
Yes, they were among the best in the whole of the Commonwealth. But look at, it's a pale shadow of his former self.
Dotun by choice. We are here by choice.
I agree it's by choice, because the argument puts up by UCH that it's an old debt, doesn't hold water.
Doesn't remove the debt.
It doesn't. Though for me, I also say to this discourse, you don't wait until you get to a point where you have to fight badly like this before you request for your money.
So what has happened? The accumulation is nerve-wracking. 400 million.
But we are talking of even the armed forces now that has over 12 billion.
A Nigerian university in the Northwest, was owing 1 billion.
1 billion. So how do you do that? They are not new. But what I'm saying is, they don't need to wait to this point where this thing accumulates in a way that it becomes frightening.
And difficult to pay.
And difficult to pay. That's what has happened now. And then the issue of I'm owing this or no, this, you can negotiate. Negotiate. Even the government house was disconnected. Just the government house. They had to negotiate.
Come up
and get it back. In Niger State. Plan. Yes, in Niger State. It happened too. The House of Assembly, the office of the SSG, everywhere disconnected.
Why are we reluctant to pay?
To pay. Why don't you want to pay?
People want to use electricity without paying.
And Dotun, as we say in the street, money deo.
It's area of focus that is different. People want to just use some of these services and believe it's government owned and leave it to accumulate. But now it is privatized. You can't behave as it had been done in the past. You should negotiate, because if you decide to run your diesel engine, you are going to rack up more debt. So it doesn't even make sense.
About 1,450 per litre.
I was even told it's about 1.8 now.
Who survives on that?
It's about 1.8.
And the PRO talked about the UCH had been paying some monies in the past and so on. You saw the figures. So, same argument.
Maybe we leave story.
These are tame
arguments that do not hold water. Meet with them, devise a repayment plan, a flexible repayment plan, and if you are faithful to it, they will be happy, because at every month, for example, they will be able to receive something. Not to refuse to pay. It's irresponsible to not pay. How do they survive? Let's put ourselves in their position.
Even the
how many businesses run on credit?
Pay for the state house. Go and negotiate.
Yes.
I mean,
does it not put you to shame that Aso Rock, for example, was owing electricity bill?
Oh yeah.
Was this something that we expected to get to know?
All right.